Here we're offering 3 upgrade options: Western Computer Fresh Start, we have a complete as-is, and a new start upgrade. Let's talk about each of these in great detail. The complete as-is upgrade, this is your traditional upgrade that you're used to seeing, where we take your entire database, all of your code, we upgrade that, all of your data gets upgraded, and everything comes along. So this is more of your traditional upgrade, if you will. All custom objects are brought forward, all customer modifications are brought forward. So again, all your modifications that have been made for you in the past get pulled forward as well. Some pros and cons around this method: it's the least amount of work for users because there's no real re-engineering or rethinking that you need to do. We just take your existing nav and bring it to the latest version. So all the same business processes, those don't change. And another pro is that it brings forward all the data. So all your historical data comes forward, all of your modifications come forward. Some cons: it's more expensive due to development time. There's some development rework that needs to be done between versions, and we're going to want to bring all your old modifications into eventing and extensions. And what that's going to do is it's going to streamline your future upgrades. From a performance standpoint, the upgraded database may be a little slower because then you have large sets of data, and obviously with more data, it's going to take more time to do lookups and filters and searches. And then the final con here is it's cumbersome. If you're waiting to change any business logic, anything like posting groups, locations, dimensions, or other key configurations, it's cumbersome because there is so much coming forward. What you'll find is in other upgrade methods, it doesn't become as cumbersome. So let's take a look at the Western Computer Fresh Start. Here we upgrade the data and the tables, but no other objects. There's some inherent benefits to doing that. What happens is all of the tables and the data comes across, but none of the modifications. Here, you would also review the target database functionality with your own data. So it's familiar data once the upgrade is done, but again, remember there's no modifications being pulled forward. Very often what we'll find is a lot of our clients who do a lot of modifications during their first go-around realize that, hey, maybe we've over-modified the system, and maybe we don't need all these modifications. Maybe we should go back to a more simpler state. Once that upgrade is done, you would then work with your consultants to determine which modifications are required. So the next step here would be the modifications are identified and redeveloped for the target database using events. This is a key indicator here to know that when going down this method, we're going to want to redevelop only what you need, and we're going to put them in events so that your total cost of ownership gets to be really low moving forward. Some pros in doing this: the ability to retain data, but want to use a clean database with no modifications. In a lot of cases, for audit purposes, for historical record keeping, you may want to keep all your old data. This is a great option for that. But if you have a heavily or over-modified system, you don't necessarily want to bring all those modifications forward. So that's a huge pro here. You'll have the benefit of using all the new NAV business functionality, as well as you can roll out a new business model or update your business processes much easier when choosing this method. And this is something that you're going to want to think about before you choose an upgrade option. Will we have business model changes or process changes? Are we looking for different types of functionality out of the system? And that's what's going to help you determine whether the Fresh Start is a good option for you or not. One of the cons from a Fresh Start is more upfront work is placed on the users to review all the end-to-end processes and identify modification requirements. So as you can imagine, this puts a little bit of a load on the end users to really think hard about what is it that they truly need coming out of this upgrade. Do they truly need the 50 original mods that were developed? Probably not. We know they'll probably need about 20 of them. And they may then, at that point, identify 4 or 5 other new ones. So this gives you that ability to hit that reset button, take only what you need from the old system, and bring in or create the new modifications that you truly need moving forward. So this is a great option for doing something of that nature. A WC New Start, yet a different angle to an upgrade. Here we start with a clean NAV database and import only selected data. Select your master records, your customers, your items, your vendors, that kind of stuff. Some transactional records, your OpenAR, your OpenAP, and some of the current setups that you use. Limited history is migrated. So here we're not pouring over millions of records coming into your new system. This keeps things moving faster, smoother, keeps the database from excessively growing. And then we would also eliminate custom data and custom code. So if you have some custom code that was unnecessarily developed in the first go around and there's a bunch of data that's associated with it, that too would also get eliminated. So the data migration recommendations on this is all master records, your GL accounts, your items, vendors, customers, kind of thing. We talked about OpenAR and OpenAP, and then some common tables, your posting groups, your dimensions, units of measure, and your number series. A pro here is reduced development cost. We're not bringing any development over. You'll see in the yellow box on the right where we purge all the old mods. And then the users get to utilize the system without any modifications or customizations. And that's really key, and that's something I hear very often from clients as well is, boy, if we would have just used the system as is without any modifications for a year, we would really know what it is that we needed after that time. This is your opportunity to hit that reset button and only do exactly what you need, nothing more and nothing less. From a con standpoint, limited history may mean limitations in forecasting functionality within NAV. So this is a downfall if you're not bringing over all your purchase history or all of your sales history. It could be more difficult to run any kind of forecasting, purchasing forecast, sales forecast, and production forecast, if you will. So that's certainly something to keep in mind when trying to choose the right upgrade method. What we've done here is we've put a chart together that talks about the three different methods of upgrading, the as-is, the fresh start, and the new start, and a chart that explains each of them. So let's go down the as-is, where you'll see it's a traditional upgrade. It brings in all your history. From a development effort, it's a high development effort for classic users before the Rolltail client, version 5 and below, for the lesser versions. From a customer effort, it's very little effort, simply learning the new interfaces and learning just the new version in general. From a consulting effort, from a Western side, it's very little effort. There's very little for us to do outside of just the actual upgrade itself. We then turn it over to you guys for testing. Whereas a WC Fresh Start, nice about that is it upgrades all your data. So under that data migration, we include all the history. All the history comes across. From a development effort, you'll find effort is less from an upgrade standpoint. Customizations are developed as needed using events. We take those customizations and we pop them into events for you. From a customer effort, there's a medium effort there from a customer standpoint, because here we do ask you guys to think about what customizations you want to bring forward and really look to re-engineer some of those processes and that kind of thing. From a consulting effort, there's a medium effort there as well, where we would work with you on those customizations and some of those business process changes and make sure they properly reflect within NAV. Finally, that new start. And the new start approach, no upgrade of the database. From a data migration, it's limited history only of the master data and the setups. The development effort, there's no upgrade effort there. Customizations are developed as needed using events. That's an as needed type of basis. The most effort from a customer standpoint, here we're asking more and more of your time to make sure we're only redeveloping what needs to be developed. And from a consulting effort as well, it is the highest most effort from a consultative standpoint. I like this chart because it breaks it all down for you into one neat little spot.